All right, welcome everyone to the College Admissions Collaborative, highlighting engineering and technology virtual college fair. This is the Washington University in St. Louis information session. And before I pass it over to our presenter, Easton, I'm going to kick us off with a few housekeeping items first. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to Easton at any time. He'll do his best to address those throughout the presentations. Your camera and microphone are off. So while you can see and hear Easton, he cannot see or hear you. So be sure to use that Q&A often to make sure that you get your questions answered throughout the presentation. This is just one of a few more sessions for tonight's virtual college fair. So feel free to sign up for more sessions in the next hour to continue to connect with different colleges and universities. And then finally, the session is being recorded, and we will have all of the recordings available on the website tomorrow for on-demand access after the fact. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Easton and to get us started. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. So hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. My name is Easton Knott, admissions officer at Washington University in St. Louis, also a proud WashU alum, graduated back in 2012. I've spent many of my years post-grad on our campus as well, so happy to be with you this evening. I'm going to be going through a little bit of an abbreviated session today, hopefully talk for about 20-25 minutes or so about the university, give you some basics, some ins and outs of who we are and what we're looking for in our students. And then hopefully use the rest of our time together for Q&A. So please use that Q&A function here in Zoom. And once we get through our presentation, we will address those questions that haven't been answered. And hopefully you'll leave with a better understanding of who we are at WashU. To get us started though, we're a medium-sized research institution. We are of course located in St. Louis, Missouri. So I give a nice little picture of our campus. There we are. And our location is a really important piece of who we are. So I'd like to start off by acknowledging the indigenous culture of Missouri. Washington University and the city of St. Louis are actually located on the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Osage Nation, Missouri, and the Alumni Confederacy. We honor them as we live, work, and study at WashU. So to continue talking about the place that we call home, St. Louis is just like us. We're medium sized, it's unique, it's historic, it's growing. We have about 3 million people in the greater metro area with a number of different neighborhoods that really make it feel unique no matter where you're going throughout the city. Big sports town. Everybody is really excited today because our beloved St. Louis Cardinals, last I checked, were beating up on the Cincinnati Reds on opening day 9-1. So happy to see that. We're also proud of our St. Louis Blues hockey team, 2019 Stanley Cup champions. Wonderful town for the arts, for museums. We are the second, or the city with the second most free things to do in the country behind Washington, D.C. Right around our campus, there's a plethora of activity with Forest Park being right at the center of it. Forest Park is one of the largest urban parks in the country. It's about 500 acres larger than Central Park in New York. It has jogging and bike trails, golf courses, paddle boating, an art museum, history museum, science center, and zoo that are all free to the public. And it is quite literally our front yard. So if I got done with class and I wanted to go to the zoo, it took me about a 15-minute walk to get there, which is pretty cool to have. And our students really get out and about in the city as much as they can. We give every single student a free Metro pass, so they can use either the light rail train system or the bus system as much as they want throughout the academic year. We have one bus stop and two train stops on our campus. So it's really easy to go downtown to see a baseball game, to go to the other side of the park, to our medical campus, or if you're going home for break, to hop on the Metro and take it out to the airport. So really easy to make St. Louis your home while you're there at WashU. So to bring us back to who we are as a university, mentioned before, we are a medium-sized school. We have just over 7,000 undergraduates across 5 different academic divisions. From largest to smallest, that is the College of Arts and Sciences, followed by the McKelvey School of Engineering, the Olin Business School, and then our Sam Fox School of Design and Visual Arts, Arts, which houses our College of Art, our College of Architecture, and then our Art Museum as well. So students have the ability to take classes in all 5 of our divisions. Doesn't matter what your quote unquote home division is, but you will apply directly into one of these divisions when you're applying to WashU. So they are all first year entry. They all have a different core curriculum. So depending on what you may be interested in studying for the bulk of your classes is going to be where you're most likely applying as an incoming student. You still have the ability to double major and minor across divisions as well. So we really believe in interdisciplinary learning. We want our students to get a wide range of experiences in the classroom during their time at WashU. And that's because we have so many different students coming to our campus with so many different ideas and so many different backgrounds. You look at this map here, our students come from all 50 states across the United States, as well as a number of US territories. You expand that out to the globe, more than 50 countries are represented in our undergraduate student body. If you look at graduate students and faculty as well, we have over 100 different countries represented. Really creates a unique environment here for our students. They are able to learn from so many different types of people, so many different backgrounds, lived experiences that they bring into the classroom and into the community every single day. And what we want to work on every day is not only making sure that students feel represented and feel like there are others like them on our campus, but they feel supported. Our Office of Diversity and Inclusion has done a wonderful job the last few years, really ramping up a lot of the work that we've done, especially partnering with our Office for Student Success and programs like our DNEP STARS program to help with mentoring programs and furthering that community environment on our campus as much as possible. Because the goal for us is to make sure that every single student understands that we want to treat them as the individual that they are, because all of our students are a little bit different. They're all unique. We have a motto on our campus, which is to get to know every single student by name and story. That comes from the late Jim McLeod, who was the Dean of Students for many years on our campus. He was the Dean of Students when I was a student. He shaped the university in a number of different ways, but I think his greatest legacy was this idea of making sure that every single student felt like every faculty member, staff member, or a fellow student that they met cared about who they were. And that really says all you need to know about WashU. We really do believe in that. And that comes from the collaborative nature of our students, and it comes from all the different ways that our students are able to be supported by faculty and staff. First and foremost, it's going to come from advising. You get advisors for everything. 4-year academic advisors that reach out to you before you even start your classes at WashU, major and minor advisors for any major or minor you declare, academic advisors for research or studying abroad. You'll have student advisors, residential advisors, Washington University student associates, just the list goes on and on and on for people that are there to help you. And you have students like Alana, who was president of the Olin Peer Ambassadors, a group within our business school that works to pair upperclassmen with first-year students to help guide them through that first-year experience, to see all there is in the Olin Business School to take advantage of, to make sure that they're getting the most out of their experience. It really speaks to the kind of person that we have here and the fact that that group is one of the most popular groups within the business school to join. And you see that being such a common thing across our 5 divisions. Outside of just advising though, I think all of our faculty members want to be accessible. They have office hours throughout the week where you can come and speak to them about really anything related to coursework or maybe their research, whatever's going on. We actually have 11 faculty fellows that live on our campus side by side with students in our residence halls. It may sound a little ridiculous, but we have really nice residence halls. We've actually been consistently ranked in the top 2 when it comes to dorms. There's Tempur-Pedic mattresses on all the beds, which was not true when I was a student. So I'm a little angry about that, but either way, it's a nice place to live. So having faculty members right around the corner to go talk to is a pretty cool experience. And I think that seeing how they really respond to students and really build off of that collaboration is really inspiring. You have professors like Douglas Flo. I'm not saying that he's my favorite just because he's a history professor and I was a history major, but he is pretty great, who talks about the fact that he's always tweaking his classes. He's always making his classes better based off of what's going on around him, but also based off of the feedback he's getting from students. It is a give and take. He is helping them as much as they are helping him. And that is a common thing that you're going to find throughout all of our faculty members on our campus. So to speak a little bit more about what the classroom really looks like, our average class size is about 25 students, with nearly 80% of our courses having 30 students or fewer. So it's going to be a lot of that smaller active learning environment throughout all of the different courses that you're in. And even if you are in a larger lecture with 150 to 300 students, you're still going to have a lab section or a discussion section that meets in a smaller group once a week to give you that active environment to be able to speak directly to faculty as much as possible. Excuse me. Like I said earlier, every single division has a different set of courses that they require. So there's no university-wide course requirements, pretty wide open what you could be taking. But the common thing that you'll find is that our students really believe in that interdisciplinary learning style. And so over 75% of our students will have more than one program of study. So that could be a second major, that could be a minor, that could be a combination of both, or also a pre-professional area of interest. So it could be pre-medicine, pre-law, occupational and physical therapy, or pre-dentistry. So we really encourage our students to make things their own, to put together a unique combination that doesn't necessarily need to make sense to us. As long as it makes sense to them and fits in their schedule, they can go for it. And it's something we encourage from day one. So there's a lot of programs that you can be involved with in your first year that really hit home on that interdisciplinary idea and that interdisciplinary nature of our coursework. So we have our ampersand programs that are really cool opportunities for students to the College of Arts and Sciences to take multi-semester courses in some different areas. So a really popular one is medicine and society. This is a multi-year program on medical anthropology. It's basically the study of human health and illness across culture, time, and location. And so students are actually tackling a wide range of issues. Program involves research and involves a lot of work in health services in St. Louis and is a full 4 years. It's really cool and it's a really awesome opportunity for students who have that combined interest moving forward. But there's a ton of options for those students when they come in. We also have a number of first-year seminars and first-year courses that are built to make sure that students understand kind of the style of learning that we have on our campus and introduce them to what they're going to be seeing moving forward. So classes like EN 120, which is our first-year engineering seminar, which is just a weekly seminar course, again, small, 15 to 20 students, that introduces you to the different types of engineering that we have offered on our campus. We have so many students that come in that may not know exactly what they want to study. They want to take some time to figure that out, which is okay. You don't have to declare a major till the second semester of your sophomore year. So taking a class like that allows you to really look and see what you have in front of you before making that final decision moving into your sophomore year. Outside of the classroom, our students are incredibly busy as well. A lot of that is kind of a co-curricular experience, and studying abroad is one of the most popular ways to do so. So around 40% of our students will study abroad. We have over 100 different programs that go to over 50 countries. Every single one of our majors offers at least one study abroad program. That includes all of our engineering majors. That includes students that may want to study as pre-med. Doesn't matter. You have the ability to study abroad and do so for WashU credit. All of your scholarships and financial aid will transfer with you when you go abroad as well. So we really encourage our students to do that. It's becoming more and more popular every single year. And so a wonderful opportunity for our students across all different divisions, whether it's for a semester, for a summer, or both. We'd love to see students going to Florence to study architecture, some of the really cool engineering programs that are in London, business programs in the South Pacific, just wonderful opportunities across the globe. We're also a Tier 1 research institution, so our faculty members are active researchers and our students are extremely active in that research process. So we actually have an Office of Undergraduate Research that can help students to connect with faculty and get their research ideas off the ground, or maybe to be involved with some faculty research that's going on our campus as well. I think we have way over 700 or $8 million that's dedicated to research throughout the year, which is a pretty big number, but I think shows a lot of what the dedication of our university is all about when it comes to the progression of learning on campus. It's also about being creative in the business world. We are one of the leading schools in the country when it comes to entrepreneurship. And so we actually have 10 student-owned and operated businesses with their own storefronts on our campus through our STEP program, our student entrepreneurial program. So students were able to purchase, own, and operate their own business, something like Berry's Sweet Shop, which is a candy store, or WashU Wash laundry service. And then when they graduate, sell it back to the university to then move on to a new student. So a really cool opportunity there. And then the one thing that I think unites all of our students in some way is a passion for community service. Over 60% of our students will get involved in some type of service work during their time at WashU. It's incredibly common, whether that is joining a group like Campus Y or one of our larger Relay for Life, or it's going through our Get Part Institute for Civic and Community Engagement to partner with local groups in St. Louis to make change. Our students really care. And so they're involved in initiatives like WashU Votes, which led voter registration and voter engagement on campus and in St. Louis last year. Whatever it may be, our students really find that giving back to the community is really at the forefront of their minds, no matter who they are or where they're coming from. And it's always amazing too to just see the commitment they have to St. Louis and to the community when they're doing so much already. There's so many different student groups here. There are 450 different student groups on our campus, a lot of things you'd expect to see, but the key thing is that they're open to anyone. Our performing arts department is absolutely fantastic, whether you want to sing in one of our 12 a cappella groups or be a part of a dance group or a theater. They're open to anybody. You don't need to be majoring in those schools or in those programs to do so. I think engineer is actually one of the most popular extracurriculars and minors is in music. So that's a really common combination to have. We are a Division III athletics program. We've been one of the top schools in Division III for last few decades. As you can maybe see in the picture behind me, there's a lot of national championship banners up in the field house. We have 23 national championships. We're very proud of that. But we're also very proud of the fact that we are routinely in the top 10 across all divisions of the NCAA in academic All-Americans. So being able to succeed on and off the field is very important to us. As somebody who played football for 4 years at WashU, I can definitely say it was a wonderful experience. So love our student athletes, or our scholar champions, as we like to call them. We are also a school that is, incredibly passionate about our cultural groups. The Association of Black Students, Association of Latin American Students are two of our largest groups on our campus. They're also involved in some of our biggest traditions every single year. And so our 5 big cultural shows, which would be Diwali, Black Anthology, Carnival, Lunar New Year Festival, and Spirit of Korea, are huge traditions on our campus. Some of the few traditions that we've actually been able to keep going this year because they've been able to be moved to a virtual show. Sadly, this year we couldn't host our big carnival, 13. It's the oldest and largest student-run carnival in the country, and usually hosted every single spring. But alas, in a COVID year, we aren't being able to do that, but hopefully next year it'll be back just in time for my 10-year college reunion, because it's also during our reunion weekend. We also host a biannual concert series called WILD, stands for Walk In, Lay Down. We have really big artists that come every year: Childish Gambino, Chance the Rapper, Lizzo, All American Rejects have all played there. The Spring Wild concert is usually the last day of the semester. So it's the end of April, class is over, you get a free concert. It's my favorite day of the year when I was a student. So a lot of awesome opportunities and great traditions to look forward to every single year. Then as you're looking towards the future, we have wonderful career services to offer you. We want to make sure that you know that the Career Center is open from day one. If you want to come in and start asking questions, whether it is with one-on-one career advising from one of our advisors in the Career Center, of course, or it's from a career peer. So those are upperclassmen that have maybe been on a similar track to where you are aspiring to go that can help out, or it's partnering with alumni that can help build your network as well. We want to make sure that all those opportunities are available to you. Some of the interesting things that we do that try to separate us from others is, I think, first and foremost, our road shows. So again, in a normal year, we have about 12 to 15 road shows where we'll take groups of students to different places throughout the country that may be hubs or homes to businesses where we see a lot of our WashU alums go to help build their networks. So that lower picture right there is actually from a road show a few years ago to the Google offices in California. That's actually one of my best friends, Cody from college on the right, who's been working at Google for the last 9 years. And another one of my friends is in that picture as well. So I actually asked them what this group was all about when they were there. Basically, they came through, they met with all the alums that are working at Google, which is a pretty hefty number. They met with some recruiters, and they kind of went through the process of what it's like to get into tech, how to best prepare yourself for an interview, how to best build your network, and what it all means. And actually, I think 2 of the people that graduated from this group have gone on to work at Google. So it's a pretty great way to make that happen and make that connection go a long way for you. And like I said, it's not just going to Google, it's a lot of different places that our students are able to make connections and see their careers flourish. Probably 25% of our alums live and work here in St. Louis, but we obviously have connections all across the country and all across the globe as well. Even out of this world, some of you may know the name Bob Behnken. He was part of the SpaceX mission last year. He was formerly the chief astronaut for NASA, and he was a WashU alum from our McKelvey School of Engineering. So really proud of that as well, mainly so I can just make that joke about having alums both on this world and out of it. But you know, I'm cheesy, I'm 30 years old, and that's what I do. So you're probably thinking, all right, school sounds great. School sounds interesting. What next? How do I become a part of this? And I think the first thing that we want you to know is that we treat the admissions philosophy, or excuse me, the admissions process just like we treat our students when they're here on our campus. We want to get to know you by name and story. You are more than just a number. You're more than just a test score and a GPA. You are an interesting young human being with so many different things that you could bring to our campus. And so I'm going to show you a few numbers here, which is going to directly go against what I just said. But the important thing is, this isn't the only thing that we look at. So last year, we saw about 28,000 applications with a class of just over 1,800 students. The middle 50% that you see there for the SAT and the ACT are both super scored. So we will take retesting for either of those, doesn't matter which one. We have no preference there as well. The important thing is that there's so much more to our application process than just what those numbers may say. So this is a little bit of an overview of what that looks like. So first and foremost, how to apply. So we accept 3 different applications: the Common App, the Coalition App, as well as the QuestBridge application. We are a QuestBridge partner school, so you can apply to the QuestBridge match process. We have a couple of rounds of decision. So QuestBridge match students have a deadline of November 1st. We have an early decision 1 deadline of November 1st. Early decision 2 deadline is January 2nd, January 3rd. Then regular decision is also January 3rd. Early decision 1 and 2 are both binding applications. So if you apply early decision and you're admitted, we are assuming that you're going to enroll at WashU the following year. So if you get to those deadlines and you say, you know what, WashU is my #1 choice, I would start there tomorrow if I could, apply early decision. Awesome. If you're in between, you're not sure, that's okay. Apply regular decision, no big deal, totally up to you. 5 pieces of your application that you could possibly receive or could possibly be turning in 4 that we need and require. So your transcript is going to be the most important thing that we look at. We want to make sure that you are a high achiever in the classroom, A's and B's, whatever is going to be considered a strong applicator, excuse me, a strong transcript for your school, because we look at you in the context of what's offered at your school. So if you say, well, my school doesn't offer AP classes, am I going to have a strong transcript? Yes, because we can't penalize you for classes that you didn't have the opportunity to take. That's not really fair, no, is it? What I will say is that there are some things that we look for depending on what you may want to study in college. For example, for students that are interested in STEM, which I imagine many of you are, we're going to look at your math and science abilities. Much of that's going to come through your abilities and your preparation in calculus and physics. So having taken those courses at some point in high school is definitely something we look for. Not a requirement by any means, something we may look for. For students that are applying to business, we may look a little bit harder at math as well. So again, calculus is going to stand out to us. Test scores. We are test optional. We have been test optional this past year, and we will be test optional again next year. So you saw the testing averages on the previous slide. Mentioned already that we super score, but you do not have to submit testing at all to be competitive, to be admitted whatsoever. I want to make sure that is clear. It's totally up to you whether or not you want to submit. We have no preference either way. Letters of recommendation, we need 2, one from a counselor and one from a teacher. You can feel free to send us an additional letter from another teacher, coach, mentor, boss, faith leader if you would like. The goal here is that we have somebody who's able to tell us a little bit more about who you are in your community. We just want to learn more about you. Extracurricular activities, anything you do outside of eating, sleeping, and going to class, put it down. We want to see it all. If if you're in robotics, if you volunteer, if you're shadowing at a teaching hospital, if you play a sport, if you babysit, if you take care of your grandmother, if you work a job, everything. We want to see how you spend your time. There's no right or wrong way to spend your time. There's no right or wrong number of activities. The key is that you're doing something and that you're spending your time in a way that shows that you are passionate, shows that you are involved in your community. It could be doing one thing for 50 hours a week. It could be doing 10 things, whatever it may be. What matters is if I sit down and ask you what you're involved in, you can speak about it with a little bit of energy and excitement. The last thing are essays. So we have 2 essays that we require. One is just going to be a general essay that comes through whatever application you send in. The second is going to be a specific supplemental essay. So the prompt for that one hasn't come out just yet, but traditionally the question just asks, why do you want to study whatever you're interested in? So if you're interested in studying chemical engineering, why do you want to study chemical engineering? Where did that interest come from? And where do you see yourself going with it? With the general essay, the advice is always the same. This is your chance to tell us who you are in your own voice. So we really encourage you to do so. You have to remember in this process that there's so many things that are standardized. Standardized testing is quite literally standard. It's in the name. Transcripts, no matter how much they may range, are all pretty similar looking. There's going to be a lot of students that have very similar grades and classes taken. There's going to be no student that has your voice, no student that has your background, your interest, your personality. And the better that I can get to know who that person is, the easier it's going to be for me to make a decision. We just got done with committee a few weeks ago. When we were sitting in committee, there was no point where I was sitting there going, look at this test score, look at this grade in calculus. We have to admit them. I was telling stories that I heard in essays or extracurriculars that the student was involved in, or what somebody said in the letter of rec. That type of stuff stands out because it shows us more who you are and who you're going to be in the community. It's all together. So making sure that you're spending time with that is key. A couple additional notes. Students applying to our College of Art do need to submit a portfolio. For architecture, it's recommended but not required. We have optional interviews that will start over the summer. Totally optional. You don't have to do them at all. Right now, they're entirely virtual. Just sitting down with a member of our community, staff member, a student, an alum, to talk a little bit more about you and where you may be going and where you may be headed in the future. Lastly, something that we added this past year was a 90-second video. Again, it could be anything. We saw some really interesting ones, people that made short movies, people that just sat down at a desk and told us some things about themselves, people that sent us videos of their you want that's going to tell us a little bit more about who you are, go for it. We really love them. They're a really cool way for us to learn more about you as a student. Briefly want to touch on financial aid. We do meet 100% demonstrated financial need for all admitted students. That's something we have been or has been very important to us for a number of years, and we continue to do so moving forward. We have a no loan policy for any family that makes $75,000 or less as well. We have a wonderful student financial services team. They are incredibly helpful throughout this entire process, so please feel free to reach out to them over the summer as you start planning ahead and start getting an idea of what WashU can mean for you, because we've actually been ranked one of the top schools in the country when it comes to financial aid and one of the most surprisingly affordable. So we want to make sure that you know what we can offer you there. So having that conversation is really, really important as we move forward. We also offer merit-based scholarships. We have a number of different types, or excuse me, 2 different types and a number of different programs. So there are our signature scholars programs and our divisional scholars programs. So when you apply to WashU, you're automatically entered for one of our divisional scholarships. Don't need to do anything extra. These scholarships are just going to be in different areas based off of your area of interest at WashU. When it comes to the signature scholars programs, these do require separate applications, usually with essays and short answer questions that will be due by January 3rd. In order to apply to the signature scholars programs, you must first apply to WashU. So you send in your WashU application, then you get access to the scholarships. So you want to make sure you have some time to fill those out. Every single scholarship that we offer, whether it's a divisional or a signature scholar program, will have a mix of full and partial tuition scholarships within it. So doesn't matter what it is, you have the ability to get a full merit-based scholarship to WashU. They will all range in size. Some of them may only offer 4 or 5 scholarships, some may offer 40 or 50, just depends on the program. The scholarships are available for all students. So that's early decision 1, early decision 2, and regular decision students. Does not matter when you apply, you're all in the running for those. Additionally, the scholarships are available for all students, no matter if you submit testing or not. Does not matter, you are still eligible for merit scholarships. So that's a very important thing to note. Woo. Okay, that was a lot of me talking without getting to hear from all of you. So I'm going to open up my Q&A and answer some questions. So I know I've got a couple of questions that have already been in there, but if you have more questions, please add some questions to the Q&A. I'm more than happy to answer as many as you can, or as many as we have time for. So first question here, do you admit more students early decision or regular decision? So there's a couple of different ways to answer this question. I'll explain what I mean by that. We admit more students through regular decision than early decision. A higher percentage of our class comes from early decision than regular decision. And I'll explain what that means. So our early decision applicants between early decision 1 and early decision 2 make up about 60% of our incoming class. However, the early decision applications themselves are only about maybe between 3,000 and 5,000 applications, so not very many. Regular decision, we'll see closer to 28,000, 29,000 applications. So although it's only 49% of the class, we will still admit more students from that round because not all of those students will end up coming to WashU. So the important thing for you to know is that you should apply early decision if it's something you really want to do. If it's, you know, WashU is your place and you want to go there tomorrow, you want to be like the weird guy on the screen and stay there for, 13 years, apply early decision, go for it. If you're up in the air at all, that's okay. Like I said, we admit more students regular decision than we do in early decision. So going that route is totally fine. Question about aid for international students. We offer financial aid for international students in the exact same process. So it is still completely open. We still meet 100% of demonstrated need for every single one of our students, whether they are domestic or international. Are you need blind or need aware in admissions? So we are need aware in admissions. Basically all that means is that we work with the budget, and as we get close to kind of closing out our decision process, we make sure that we are underneath that budget. So it doesn't really have an impact very much on how we make our decisions. We want students to be sure that if they need financial assistance to come to WashU, that they're applying for it. The last thing you and your family wants to do is apply to WashU, get in, decide to come here, and realize that you were unable to do so without that financial aid. And so it doesn't really work that way. We want to make sure that you're taken care of, and our financial aid office will definitely take care of you. What is your favorite place to go on campus? My favorite place to go on campus, so there's a couple of them. Usually it's this place right behind me, which is the field house. I played football, but basketball season was always my favorite. We won, the men's team won the national championship my freshman year. Women's team won the national championship my sophomore year. So a lot of great memories there. My favorite place though is probably the Duck, Danforth University Center. It's kind of our main student center on campus. It has a lot of different places in it. It's got a fun room that's got like some arcade games, pool table stuff in there. There's always like big watch parties for stuff going on. It's got a number of different places to eat. It has like a sit down restaurant. It's got a Jamba Juice. It's got a coffee shop. But it's also just got a really nice big open space where I used to eat lunch with my friends every day, sit and do crossword puzzles and all that weird stuff. So I love it. It also opened my first year on campus, so I kind of feel a personal connection to it since we've been there about the same amount of time. So definitely say the Duck. And there's this tradition called Duck and Donuts where once a month they give out donuts on a Friday, and I love donuts. So, can't hate that. Do you meet 100% demonstrated need? Yes, we do meet 100% demonstrated need for all of our admitted students. Yes. Are there core course requirements? So each of our divisions has a different list of course requirements. So depending on which division you're in, you're going to have a different set of courses that you're going to need to take. Now there's a lot of flexibility for sure. So even if you're in a program that's a little bit more structured, you're still going to have the ability to take classes across different divisions and make your 4 years look unique to you. It's easy enough to kind of put it in two different bins. You've got the College of Arts and Sciences and then the other 4 divisions. So Arts and Sciences only has 1 required course, which is college writing. Everything else is based off of elective credit and some distribution requirements. So instead of saying that, for me as history major that I needed to take calculus, it was you need to take a quantitative course, something that uses numbers of some type. Engineering, business, art, and architecture are more structured, especially during that first year. Like I said, it's still very common for those students to be taking classes in different divisions. You'll still have a lot of flexibility in your curriculum. Do you offer a financial pre-read for financial aid if students are applying ED? Yes, so we have a lot of different opportunities for students, no matter if they're applying early decision or regular decision, to get an idea of what they could be receiving through our financial aid process. So that could come through using the cost calculators on the Student Financial Services website. That could come through a conversation with any of our Student Financial Services counselors. We will walk you through the process and make sure that we can help you get a good idea of what you would want, or excuse me, what you could expect to receive. I think that's especially important for early decision. If you are considering early decision and know that you're going to be applying for aid, making sure that you take those steps and make those connections and use those cost calculators, using those resources is really key. So we definitely have that available and encourage you to use it as well. Are AP credits accepted? Great question. Generally, yes. So students can bring in a maximum of 15 pre-college credits from AP or IB scores. That could also be from courses that were taken at a local college. AP scores, usually a score of a 4 or a 5 will get you credit. It just depends on the score, the class you took, and your division. So each one of our divisions has a slightly different policy on that. For example, if you are studying in the School of Engineering, you can't test out of chemistry. If you have a 5 on AP Chem, you'll still have to take chemistry on campus. But if you have a 5 on BC Calc, then maybe you'll be placed in the Calc 3 and you'll have 6 credits. So little things like that. And each of the divisions on their website will have a list of what that looks like. Let's see here. If I'm interested in computer science, but I'm not certain, can I apply to the College of Arts and Science and still major in computer science? So this is a really good question. Yes and no. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So computer science is a really unique situation. So I'll talk about it broadly, then I'll talk about computer science in particular. So if you are uncertain of exactly what you want to study, my first word of advice is thinking about where you want the majority of your courses to come from. But I know I want to study engineering, but I just don't know what I want to study within engineering. That's fine. Apply to engineering and figure it out there. There's an undecided engineering option there. If you're more wide open, I have no idea what I want to study. That's okay. Try to kind of pinpoint, but if you can't quite pinpoint it, College of Arts and Sciences is your best bet because it is the most wide open curriculum. After you're here for a semester, you have the ability to apply for a transfer between divisions. It may not always be possible, but we encourage you to do so. You can work with your four-year advisor to build your coursework to prepare yourself for that transfer if that's something you want to do. With computer science in particular, so we have a number of different computer science programs that are co-listed in different areas. So computer science is our largest program at the university. It's housed within our McKelvey School of Engineering. We also have our computer science and math and computer science and economics majors. So these are single majors. They're housed both within engineering and in arts and sciences. So although your primary major from arts and sciences cannot be computer science, your primary major can be computer science and math or computer science and econ if you're in the College of Arts and Sciences. So if you are a student who is sitting there going, comp sci math, comp sci econ, that sounds really great to me. I would love to have that as a combined major, and I'm not really interested in the rest of engineering. College of Arts and Sciences, great for you, easy enough. If you aren't really sure about that, you want to do computer science and that's really your main focus, engineering is your better bet because that's where that main comp sci program is going to be housed. If you're thinking about computer science as a second major, then totally different story. You can be a student in any one of our divisions. You can be an art student and have computer science as a second major. Totally up to you. There's a lot of flexibility with that. So it's a very common second major or minor in comp sci. So it really just depends on, again, what your primary interest may be. If you have kind of common interests, again, with that comp sci and math or comp sci and econ program that maybe you want to go with, whatever it is, there's options out there for you. We can do that process as you're making your decision later on. Does WashU have a legacy program? So do we look at legacy when we go through the admission process? You know, not necessarily. We love to see students that are keeping WashU in mind. If their parents went there, that's always great to see, but it's not something that plays a huge role in our admissions process for sure. If somebody's been doing this for a number of years, it's definitely not the end all be all for our admits for sure. Talk a little bit about on-campus resources and equipment. Yeah, so we have a brand new makerspace on our campus for our engineers to use. I think it's only 2 years old right now. Students can use it at any time. They just need to sign up and make sure that they're trained in whatever materials they're using. If it's the 3D printers or any of the other cool stuff that I have no idea how to use on campus, that's really great. You know, like I said, with so much research going on campus, it's very common for our students to be involved in that as well. In a number of our labs, both on our campus and at the medical school, so that's extremely common. It's also common just to see our students using resources out and around in St. Louis. Many of our students do co-op programs, or they have internships over the summer, places like Boeing, Rawlings. We have, you know, a great aerospace engineering minor that works really closely with Boeing here in St. Louis. So a lot of great relationships there, but that makerspace is just a really cool spot. We have a ton of stuff in our welcome center that was built by students in the makerspace with, you know, little bears and everything that was put all that. So, you know, putting together a project in there is always really cool to see. Any other questions that I didn't get to in our last couple minutes here together? I can go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Anything else that you're all wondering? Cool. All right, well, before I let you go, a couple quick things. First of all, you know, right now we are, you know, still closed to prospective student visitors, but we do have a plethora of options for you to visit us online, whether it's information sessions, guided campus tours. Our individual divisions also offer information sessions. So engineering offers sessions twice a week for you to get to know a little bit more about us. As we move into the summer, we're really going to start doing a lot more as we usually do. So we'll have our theme days that are dedicated to different parts of the university for you to hear from current students, faculty members, whether it's our pre-med day or anything around those. So wonderful opportunities to learn more about WashU. And then moving into the fall, fingers crossed, we'll start being able to have some on-campus visitors, and you'll get to see the beautiful place that I get to walk around, or I used to get to walk around. I haven't been on campus in about a calendar year, but hopefully I'll be on campus soon. And you'll get to see it for your own eyes. Because, you know, for me, when I was in high school, I did not want to go to WashU, to be frank. I thought WashU was going to be a terrible fit for me, and I just wasn't interested. And I visited campus because my parents made me, and it became my first choice overnight. And I could say that's because I had a chicken tender quesadilla at 12:30 while talking about Harry Potter with a bunch of kids that I'd never met before. But, and don't get me wrong, the food is amazing. We're number 2 in the country in food for a good reason. I gained 40 pounds as a college student, and it's great. But it's about the community. You know, I tried to talk about that a little bit in the presentation, that, you know, this whole name and story thing matters to us, and it really does. WashU students, WashU people, faculty and staff are nice. They're welcoming. They're all a little weird, and I love that. You know, they accepted a kid who played football, but also had, you know, Pokemon cards in 1 through 151 order on his wall his first year, and, you know, loves One Direction. Like, you could be yourself, whether that's in the classroom or outside of the classroom. People are going to support you. People are going to be there and in your corner. And that's something that's really important to us. So please, if WashU sounds of interest to you for any academic reason or anything else, you know, I encourage you to continue to get to know us moving forward, especially getting to know our people as much as possible, because as much as the rankings and everything else may sound great, it's the people that make this place, that drive it, that make me want to stay here after all these years. So thank you all for being here this evening, and have a great rest of your days.
And thank you so much, Easton, for spending your evening with us and sharing all this great information. That was fantastic, so thank you. And I want to thank you all for joining us tonight, in the morning, wherever you are. As you exit the webinar, you will be taken to a quick survey. It's only 4 questions, so we'd love to hear your feedback regarding this particular session. And we do have more sessions in the next hour, so if you're interested, feel free to sign up at the website where you signed up for this particular session. And all of these sessions were recorded and will be posted on the website tomorrow to view in an on-demand setting later. So I hope everyone has a great day, morning, wherever you are, and thank you for being here. Take care.